Hi darlings, it's Ziva here. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're getting straight to the nitty gritty. There's no long introduction. We're going to get straight into it because that's why you clicked on this video, right? So we're speaking about ghosting because it happens to the best of us, and also sometimes we are actually the ones doing it as well. And it's a very huge topic. I have never spoken about it before, and I felt compelled to because obviously I've had lots of messages throughout my YouTube life from you ladies who have been ghosted, wanting advice, etc. So I'm doing a video on that finally today. So let's get into this topic. So the reason why you're being ghosted is very simple, and sometimes it's happening to women on the first date, or after the first date, after the second, the third, maybe the fourth. I have actually heard it happening from the sixth date as well, but typically it's date 1 to 4, and this is usually predominantly the reason why. The first reason is because you have opened your mouth and you have told this man that the one thing that he cares about, he is never going to get with you, or he's not going to get it for the foreseeable future. When a guy is first getting to know you, the last thing he wants to hear is that the one thing that's on his mind more than food, you have told him is not going to happen with you. So at the end of the day, he's going to lose interest, and that's probably the first #1 predominant reason why you are being ghosted. And you also have to think about it. If you have told him or made him think that maybe you want something long term and he isn't there yet in his mind, he's just meeting you for dinner. But as women, sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. We start hearing wedding bells and everything, but at the end of the day, for the guy, it's literally a meal and to see what can happen afterwards, what you might do or whatever. So there are completely two entirely different angles looking at the date. Okay, two completely different perspectives. If you are letting him think that what he wants he's not going to get anytime soon or ever, then that's probably the first reason why he's ghosted you. The second reason is because you've been the complete opposite and you haven't been a challenge whatsoever. So basically you probably already gave him that one thing that he was thinking about, and so now he's bored of you. You weren't a challenge. He didn't have to graft. He didn't have to put in any effort. Also, to go with that point as well, maybe you have actually been taking his role from him. So you may have been leading, you may have been starting up conversation. So at the end of the day, you're sending him a message to see how he is, how his day has been. You're chasing him. So in essence, you're literally taking that leadership and dominating role, and you're dominating him. And men just don't like to be dominated. It just doesn't work. It's the same way that women like to be chased. Men like to do the chasing. Women like to receive compliments. Men like to do the complimenting. Men don't want to be pursued or chased by you. Unless mentally they're more feminine and they think, you know, more like women, then of course they're going to be more our way inclined. But if they're a typical masculine man, he is going to want to be doing the pursuing, and he does not want to be pursued by some woman who, in his mind, he's then going to be thinking that you want to have a baby with him right now, you want to be married to him right now, because men just don't think the same way that we do. So you kind of have to deal with them very differently to how you may want to deal with them. So just bear that in mind. I would say that they are definitely the main two predominant reasons why the ghosting is going on from the man's standpoint, why he's deciding to not speak to you anymore. He thinks that what he really wants, what he spends most of his time in life thinking about since he was about 15 to probably the day he's on his deathbed, he is going to be thinking about that one rumble tumble. And if you are telling him up front, you know what, the rumble and tumble is not going to happen with me, it's not going to happen over here, you're going to have to flip through hoops and, you know, do X, Y, and Z, run on hot coal before you can do that with me, then he is going to think, well, what's the point? I'm not getting what I want out of this, so I'm going to exit to the left now. And that's one of the main reasons I would say why they do it. And like I said, the second reason is because really you've scared them off. You've scared them off with either harassing them, stalking them, hunting them down, tracking them down, pursuing them, or you've done way too much of this and you told them all of the things that they don't need to know when you were first getting to know them. And for that reason, maybe you told too much and maybe now he's uninterested. So you've got to really weigh up, what could it have been that made him ghost me? Was it that I said too much? Did I tell him things he didn't need to know? Did I tell him that I wanted marriage and blah blah blah, and then he got nervous and I never heard from him again? Or did I say something to make him feel like the thing that's on his mind practically 24/7 is not going to happen over here? Did I do that? And in that case he decided to go off, because it's the equivalent to a man telling you that, you know what, you can date me, but at the end of the day, I'm never going to take you out. I'm never going to do the things that you want to do. I'm never going to be romantic to you or look after you. It's the equivalent to that, to a man telling you that the things that you really, really care about and the reason why you want a man around, he's not going to be doing it for you. That's the equivalent. So you have to be very, very mindful when you are telling people things. So unfortunately, ladies, I know we want to be very open and honest, and that would just make life so much easier if everybody could just be themselves and be open and honest and just say things how they are and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, that's just not how it works. And when you are too much of a big mouth, when you are too interested in spilling all the beans, what happens is guys can get the wrong end of the stick, have way too much information that they probably didn't even need from you in the beginning stages anyway, and they have decided to take themselves out of the you plus them equation. So seriously on your dates, start thinking, does this person who I don't even know, who I'm on a date with, do they really need to know all of my business? Do they really need to know everything? Do they really need to know everything? Like seriously, because just because somebody asks you a question, it doesn't mean that you need to give them the full answer just because they've asked. Or just because you feel like you want to be open and honest about everything, it doesn't mean that they want to. So it's really about trying to learn from the reasons why you've been ghosted in the past, and then try to implement a different strategy to your dating, to your dates and your conversation to minimize that ghosting happening. That ghosting occurring. Okay, so that's kind of what it's about. So think about your last conversation with that person and what led up to that ghosting occurring. Think about that and it will give you the answers that you really need, to be honest. Obviously there can be other reasons as well, but I would say that the main two predominant reasons are the ones that I covered today. And of course, if you are being ghosted and it's happening frequently, then there are a couple of other things as well that you can look into. Maybe you're dating somebody, or you're dating men who are way too attractive and they just don't need to be dating you anymore. Maybe it's that. Maybe you need to glow up in your appearance a bit more. Maybe you need to work on your confidence so that you're coming across more confident, more exciting, more interesting, maybe more girly, maybe just more interested in your date, on your dates. So there could be a number of things. But that being said, I'm a very big believer in the whole mental aspect and thoughts becoming things. Well, not just thoughts, but it's the actual feeling that you have about something, a belief that you have about something, and it just makes it continue to show up in your life. So if you're constantly thinking, I always get ghosted, after date number 3 it always happens to me, it's going to keep on happening to you. So if you try to shift your mentality, still work on yourself, work on your conversation in your dates, work on not unloading all of the information that people don't need to know about you onto other people, then maybe your chances of being ghosted will actually decrease significantly. So I want you to seriously work on these things. I hope that this video helped, and I hope that it gave you a different perspective on why you may be being ghosted, and I hope that you understand that there's not something wrong with you at all just because you're being ghosted. Even if it's happening consistently, like I said, it could be the mind frame thing that you need to work on. So it could be that, but at the end of the day, it's good to work on the mindset plus the other things as well to try to limit the amount of ghosting that's actually happening to you. So with that being said, ladies, I'm going to love you and leave you here and I'll see you in my next video. I've got my Instagram right here on the screen, and I'll put a couple of video suggestions over here for you to check out. And I will see you ladies in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.